Hello guys, today we are going to the movie review. No, movie name is Goodfellas 1990s. Directed by Martin Scorsese, is widely regarded as one of the greatest films in the crime genres and a classic in American cinema based on true events. The movie offers a gritty, intense, and immersive portrayals of the rise and falls of Henry Hills and his life is the mafia. I tell you this plot and summary. The film chronicles Henry Hill's journey from a young boy fascinated by the mob to seasoned criminals involved in various, various illegal activities. It delves into the glares of transgender gangster life, the camaraderie among mob members, and the eventual consequences of a life of crime. The narrative spans several decades, showcasing key events such as robberies, betrayals, and eventually downfall. Performance: Ray Liotta delivers a compelling performance and Henry Hill capturing both the charm and moral ambiguity of his characters. Robert De Niro as Jimmy Conway and Joy Pesci as Tommy D. Vito provide stand standout performance with Pesci's portrayals earning him an Academy Award to Best Supporting Actress. Lorraine Bracco as Karen Hedge adds depth and Hannah's confident vibe, direction and style. Martin Scorsese's signature style shines throughout with dynamic camera work, memorable voiceover, and a plastic soundtrack that immerses viewers in the era. The film's pacing, sharp dialogues, and visceral violence contribute to its soft and authentic tone themes. The movie explores themes of loyalty, greed, corruption, and the corrupting influence of power. It also examines and seductive nature of criminals' life and its destructive consequences, impact and legacy. Godfells is celebrated for its storytelling, realism, and influence on the gangster genre. It received critical acclaim, numerous awards, and has been preserved at the National Film Register for its cultural significance. Overall, a most for fans of criminal dramas, Godfields stand out as a masterful, influencing portrayal of organized crime that continue to resonate with audience decades after its release. Certainly, Godfather, Godfield 1990 an in-depth review. Godfield, directed by the legendary Martin Scorsese, is widely regarded as one of the greatest films in the gangster genre, a cinematic masterpiece that combines compelling storytelling, raw realism, and innovation filmmaking technique based on the true story of Henry Hills, a mobster who turned informant. The films offer an unrestricted look into the glamorous yet brutal world of organized crime. I tell you this plot and overview. The films begin with Hannah Hill's childhood fascination with the mafia growing up in Brooklyn in the 1990s, 50s, 60s, and the 1960s. As a young boy, Henry is captivated by the allure of gangsters, their wealth, and their power. This fascination eventually lead him into the world of organized crime, where he joins a local smoke grave led by Jimmy Conway, Robert De Niro, and Tommy DeVito. Joy Pence's the story then chronicles Henry's rise within the thanks practicing in robber trafficking and violent acts, all under the guise of loyalty and brotherhood. As Hannah becomes more deeply involved in the criminal's lifestyle, the film explores the seductive nature of power, wealth, and respect that comes with being part of the mafia. However, this life is also about with dangers, paranoia, and betrayals. The narrative groundedly reveals the dark side of mafia life, violence, corruption, and the invincible conjugation of life built on crime. The story culminates in an discussion to become an informant, turning against his former associate to save himself from immediate death and imprisonment. Performance and characters. Godfields is characterized by its stellar cast performance. Liotta's portrayals of Henry Hills is both charismatic and morally complex. He captured the allure and the struggles of living a double life, one foot in the criminal's underworld and the other in the everyday world. Liotta voice over narrative provide an insight that into Henry's thought and feeling, adding depth to his characters. Godfield is characterized by its Steelers cast performance, while Liotta portrayals of Henry Hills is both charismatic and morally complex. He captured the allure and the struggles of living a dual life, one foot in the criminal's underworld and the other in the everyday world. Liotta was our narrative provide insight into Henry's thoughts and feeling, adding depth to the adapted to his characters. Pesci's portrayals of Tommy DeVito is iconic, unpredictable, intense, and often triumphing. His performance earned him an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, and his characters in famous Funny how scans remains the highlights of the films. Robert De Niro's Jimmy Conway execute claim authority and calculate means, embodying the cool yet ruthless nature of a season's master. Lorraine Bracco as Karen Hills offer a compelling perspective on the emotional toll of the gangster lifestyle on family life. Her characters' evolving relationship with Henry highlight themes of loyalty, love, and enslavement. The supporting cast, including Paul Sorvino as Paul Serino and Frank Severio as Frankie Carbone, further father enriched the film's realistic portrayals of mafia life, directions, and cinematic style. Martin Scorsese's direction is nothing short of masterful. He employed a variety of innovations, techniques to viewers in the story. The film's editing by Thelma Schumacher is Roger Saab's seamlessly blinding violence, humor, and tensions. The use of voice or narration provide as intimate glimpse into Hannah's past, guiding the audience through complex moral questions. The film's cinematography captured the gritty atmosphere of Brocco's and Long Island neighborhood, contrasting the glitch and glamours of mafia life with its underlying brutality. Scorsese's signature style, dynamic camera movement, rapid editing, and creative use of music creates a visceral, expansive. The soundtrack featuring his from the 1950s and 1960s underscore the era and hides tense emotional impact, themes, and messages. Godfield's explores numerous profound themes: loyalty and betrayal. The film examines the code of loyalty among mobsters, which ultimately leads to betrayals and downfall. Henry's loyalty is tested respectedly, and his eventual decisions to become an informant, informant underscores the corrupting influence of greed and survival intent. The illusion of power. The film shows how the allure of wealth and respect can be deceptive. The characters live glamorous life on the surface, but beneath lies violence, paranoia, and moral decay. Corruption and moral ambiguity. The characters operate in a morally gray area, often engaging in illegal and violent acts without remorse. The film challenges viewers to consider the complexity of morality within the context of survival and loyalty. The American's Dreams, the movies present a dark reflection of the American's dream as a success thought crime, materialism, and deceptions ultimately leading to destructions, impact, and legacy. Goldfield's redefined the gangster genre and has influenced countless filmmakers and viewers that follow its unflinching realism, complex characters, and innovations storytelling. Impact and legacy. Goodfellas redefines the gangster genre and has influenced countless filmmakers and movies that follow its unflinching realism, complex characters, and immense storytelling gets new standard for crime drama. The films opened the door for a more gritty, authentic portrayal of organized crime movie away from the romanticized versions of gangster seen in the earlier film like The Goodfellas. The movie film's cultural impact is immense with memorable quotes, scene and characters entering the popular Lexoist lexicon. It has been preserved in the National Film Registry for its artistic and cultural significance and continue to be stupid and deliberate decades after its released conclusions. Its some Godwills is a tour force of filmmaking that combines brilliant performance, innovations, directions, and compelling storytelling. It offers an unvarnished look at seductive and instructive worlds of organized crime, exploring themes of loyalty, power, and morality. Its influence on crime is profound and it remains a must-watch for anyone interested in crime drama or American film history. This film is not just entertainment, it is powerful social commentary, a character study, and a cinematic masterpiece that continue to resonate with audience worldwide. So, guys, I tell you this movie's other fact and background and context. Godfield's 1990s and exhaustive and in-depth analysis. Goodfellas, directed by Martin Scorsese, stands as one of the most influential, cr- critically acclaimed, and enduring film in American cinema history. Is a raw, influencing portrayals of organized crime based on the true story of Henry Hills, a mobster who rose through the ranks of the mafia before turning information. The film's masterful storytelling, complex characters, innovative style, and thematic depth have cemented its status as a classic. Background and context. Before Goodfellas, the gangster genre had often romanticized the lives of mobsters, portraying them as glamorous and heroic figures, especially in films like The Godfather 1972. However, Martin Scorsese Goodfellas aimed for a more gritty, realistic depiction, drawing heavily from the non-fiction book Wisdom by Nicholas Fleming. Also, co-wrote a screenplay. The film was made during a period when American cinema was shifting toward more visceral, morally complex narrative. Scorsese's own background, growing up in the New York City, allowed him to tap into authentic experience and setting, bring a visceral sense of palace and atmosphere to the story. Plot details and narrative structures. The film's narrative is told through Henry Hill's voice or narration, which guides viewers through his life in the mafia. It begins with his childhood fascination with gangsters and follow his intention into the move his rise to power and his eventually discliment. The story His non-liners opening with Henry's arrest and decisions to become an informant there. Flashing back to his early days, the movie is divided into cinematic segments, each illustrating different facts to move life, the allure of the criminal's lifestyles with scans of flying wealth and power, the brutal reality of violence and betrayals exemplified in scans of shooting, beating, and the infamous funny how scans, the erosions of morality and the perceived effect of greed and paranoia, the personal toll on Henry and his family, highlighting the emotional and psychologically cost. The climax involves Henry's discussion to turns on his former associates, testifying against them in court and facing the consequence of his choice, performance, and character depth. Goodfellas is distinguished by its past performance, whispering, authentic, and nuances. While Liotta Henry Hill's Liotta portrayal is complex, charming, charismatic, yet morally ambiguous. His voice, our narrative, humanizes Henry, exposing his internal conflict and the seductive nature of criminals' life. Liotta captured the vulnerability beneath the bravado, making Henry a relatable yet deeply flawed protagonist. Joy Pesci's Tommy Pesci's performance is legendary. His portrayals of Timmy is unpredictable, volatile, and messenic, blending humor with terror. The funny how Scans exemplifies this piece intense delirious, making it one of the most iconic moments in the film history. Pesci's role earned him on Oscars and his portrayals remains a benchmark for acting intensity. Robert De Niro embodies the cool calculation of was his restrained yet commanding presence highlight the claim means of Sensonate criminals. His interactions with Henry reveals a layered character capable of both mentorship and ruthless violence. Lawrence Bracco and Hill Bracco provide as compelling emotional core, depreciating the wife for between loyalty and disagreement. Her portrayals highlighting the sacrifice and emotional toll of the monster life on families. Supporting cast roles Sorvino, Frank Saviro, and others contribute to the realism, portraying various moves associated with depth and authenticity. Filmmaking techniques and styles Martin Scorsese's directionally genius events thought out. Cinematography Mitchell's Bellhouse camera work employs dynamic tracking shots, freeze frames, and intense close-ups. The opening tracking shot into the Copenhagen nightclub in the masterpiece, immersing viewers into Henry's world of glamour. Editing Thelma Schoolmaker's editing is sharp, often using rapid cuts during scenes of sound or violence to heighten tension. The film's pacing expertly balanced moment of humor, tension, and reflections. Soundtrack: the film's soundtrack is a nostalgic tapestry of 1950s and 1990s hits which serve both as period marks as emotional cues. Songs like Rags to Reach My Way and Laila underscore key moment enhancing the storytelling. Voice-over narrations: Henry Narcisse provides insight into his thought and feeling, making the audience complex in his perspective, while also highlighting his moral decisions. Visual style: Scorsese's use of highlighting, color pattern, and framing emphasizes the duality of the gangster lifestyle. It's clever and tender. Themes and symbol: Godfrey's explore a multitude of themes: loyalty in Brutto, the mafia, code emphasizing loyalty above all is loyalty, however, often leads to betrayals and violence, illustrating how trust is in a world driven by greed and self interest, power, and corruption. The film depicts how the pursuits of power and wealth corruptions individuals, leading them to violence and moral decay. Illusion versus reality: the glamorous veneer of mafia life marks the violence and instability underneath. The film constantly juxtaposed luxury and brutality. The American Dream: the film critiques the idea that success can be achieved without rhyme, showing that such pursuits often lead to destructive rather than fulfillment. Morality and justice: the film challenges viewers to consider the ethics of the characters' actions, blurring the lines between right and wrong, decay and self-destruction. The characters' trajectory highlight the destructive nature of greed and moral compromise, cultural impact and legacy. Goodfellas revolutionize the gangster genre by presenting an unvarnished gritty realism that contrasts with earlier romanticized portrayals. Its influence extends across cinema and popular culture. It's inspired a wave of tribalism and TV shows such as Sopranos. Its quotes, scams, and characters have become part of pop culture lexicon. The film innovation techniques and storytelling inspired filmmakers like Quentin. Cultural impact and legacy: Goodfellas revolutionized the gangster genre by presenting an unvarnished gritty realism that contrasted with earlier romanticized portrayals. Its influence extends across cinema and popular culture. It's inspired a wave of crime films and TV shows such as the Sopranos. Its quotes, sketches, and characters have become part of pop culture lexicons. The film's innovations, techniques, and storytelling inspired filmmakers like Quentin Tarantino and the Coen brothers. It has been preserved in the National Film Registry for its cultural, historical, and aesthetic significance. Critics praise it for its authenticity, narrative complexity, and artistic craftsmanship. It continues to be stupid and revel as quintessential crime films and ethical reflection. While Godfrey's offer a compelling narrative, it also prompts viewers to reflect on morality, the allures of crimes, and the consequences of a life of violence. The film does not glorify gangsters but rather expose its brutal realities, making viewers question the cost of such a lifestyles. Henry Hill's eventual decision to become a information underscores the moral complexity, highlights themes of survival, guilt, and redemption. The film leaves viewers contemplate whether the cost of loyalty is worth the destruction is bring. Final thought in conclusion, Godfellas is more than just a crime film. It is a cinematic body force that combines storytelling, performance, and its technical mastery to explore the seductive yet destruction world of organized crime. Its layered narrative, unforgettable character, its innovations style make it make it timeless. Make it timeless masterpiece that continue to influence filmmakers and captive audience worldwide. It's a film that demands attention, offering a gritty, honest glimpses into a world where loyalty and betrayal walk hand in hand, and where the American dream can quickly turn into a nightmare. Absolutely, here is even more extensive details and comprehensive analysis of Goodfellas 1990s, designed to be as long thought out as possible, covering every conceivable. Every conceivable aspect. Godfellas 1990, an epic in-depth exploration of crime classic. Goodfellas, directed by Martin Scorsese, is widely regarded as one of the most influential films in cinema history, particularly within the gangster genre, and renowned for its raw realism, innovations, storytelling, and unforgettable performance. The films offer a profound multi-layers explorations of organized crime, morality, loyalty, and the American dream zone, where its enduring legacy tests of it on its meticulous craftsmanship, cultural impact, and unflinching depiction of the seductive yet destructive moral world of the mafia, origins and development. Before Delving into the film itself, it's essential to understand its origins. Godfells is based on the non-fiction's Look, Sky by Nicholas Bracco, who also co-wrote the screenplay with Scorsese. The book chronicled the life of Henry Hills, a real-life mobster who became an informant, providing a rare insight, a view of mafia cooperations. Martin Scorsese, already an acclaimed director with films like Taxi Driver and Raging pulls out to craft a film that was both authentic and immersive. His vision was to strip away romantic notions of gangsters' life and portrays it as it truly was: violent, glamorous, corruption, and ultimately tragic. Narrative structure and storytelling techniques. Goodfellas employs a non-linear narrative heavily reliant on Henry Hill's voice or narration, which provides insight into his thought, motives, and moral struggles. His narrative device make the audience capitalized in Henry's perspective, create intimacy and immediacy. The film begins with Henry's arrest, singling the inevitable downfall, then flashes back to his childhood and early days in the mob. This structure allows the audience to see the progressive from innocence, fascination to full immersion, and finally disillusionment and betrayals. The storytelling is punched with dynamic editing, freeze frames, and jump cuts which create a rhythm that mimics shows and unpredictability. Thematic depth and symbolism. Goldfields explores numerical intertwined themes, the illusions of claimless films, used with scans of opulent parties, flashy cars, and glamorous entrance with visceral sense of violence and decay. This contrast underscores the false allure of the gangster lifestyle, loyalty and betrayals. The mafia's code emphasizes fidelity and brotherhood, but these bonds are fragile, betrayals are common, and the film vividly depicts how loyalty can be manipulated or broken for personal gain. Morals ambiguity, characters operate in moral grace, is engaging in criminal activities without remorse. The films force viewers to grapple with their sympathies and judgment. The corruption's power of wealth, the pursuit of money, and status lead characters to moral compromise, violence, and ultimately self-destruction. The corrosive nature of powers. The films reveals how power can breed paranoia, greed, and violence, corruption. Even the most seemingly stable characters, the American theme and its disagreement. The film critiques the idea that wealth, and success can be achieved throughout illegal means, illustrating the destructive conclusions, decay, and self-destruction over one course of the film's characters' trajectories, highlighting how greed and moral decay leads eventually to downfall. Characters analysis and performance. Goodfellas is enforced by expansion's performance that breathed life into its complex characters. Henry Hill's Liotta's portrayal is a tour de force, capturing the charisma, vulnerability, and moral conflict of Henry. His narrations provides a personal lens, making Henry both relatable and morally ambiguous. Liotta portrays the allure of power and wealth, but also the loneliness and paranoia that comes with it. Tommy DeVito Pesci's portrayal of Tommy is legendary, how volatile, unpredictable, and driving presents the funny how scans exemplifies Pesci's mastery blending humor and minimalism. Pesci's intense performance earned him an Academy Award. Jimmy Conway, Robert De Niro embodies the goals calculating mobster is claimed demure mistake lethal capability and his interactions with Janus reveals a mentor turns tyrant. De Niro's restraint nighttime the memes carried Hill's Lorenzo Bracco's performance captured the emotional toll of living in the mob shadow. Her character's evolution from loyal wife to disclosure observe reflection the personal cost of the gangster's lifestyle. Supporting characters, the film's ensemble cast adds depth and authenticity, portraying various mobster associates and family members with nuanced direction, visions, and cinematic style. Martin Scorsese's directorial and his in Goodfellas is a masterclass in visual storytelling, cinematography. Michael Bellua's camera work employs inventive shoots include the iconic long tracking shot into the Copa nightclubs, embracing viewers directly into Henry. Support the use of lighting emphasizes mood, bright and glamorous during parties, dark and tense during violent scans editing. Thelma Schoonmaker's editing is crisp, often employing rapid cut during shooting scans to heighten tension and disoriented and viewers mirroring the characters. So sound and music. The film soundtrack is an electric mix of period hits that evoke the era and deepen emotional resonance. The music also serves as a narrative device, making transitions and highlighting cultural context. Voiceover Henry's narrative creates intimacy and provides insight into his moral dilemmas, making the audience complicit in his worldview. Visual symbolism scores employing visual motifs such as the resourceful use of color red during violent on or patience and skins to symbolism danger, patience and Bloodshed, iconic scans and moments. Goodfellas is repeated with memorable scans that have entered cinematic legends. The Copacabana scans, virtuous tracking shot into the nightclub, emphasizing Henry's sense of control and longing. The funny how scans Pesci's explosive monologues amplify unpredictable violence, a defining moment of the films. The Lufthansa has meticulously planned robbery that highlighting the mob operational presence and eventual downfall. The Lila sends the use of Eric Clapton's Lila during a chaotic violent scene creates a powerful emotional juxtapositions. The funny guy scans Henry attempts to emulate the mob bravos which shadows his eventually downfall. The film sequence Henry's decision to turn informant and subsequent fellow assembled the tragic consequence of his choice, cultural and historical significations could will profoundly impact American cinema and popular culture. It shifted expectations of gangster film, emphasizing realism over romanticism. It popularized a gritty, unvarnished style that influenced filmmakers for decades. It contributed iconic roots and sense that permeate pop culture. The film succeeded to resource of interest in mafia stories, inspired TV series like The Sopranos. Its influence extend beyond cinema, affecting fashion, music, and public perception of organized crime, critical reception, and award. The film was a critical and commercial success, receiving 6 Academy Award nominations, including for its authentic portrayal, technical mastery, and storytelling. Reviewers lauded Scorsese's direction, the performance, and the screenplay sharpness over the years. Its reputation has only grown, often ranking among the greatest films ever made. Ethical and moral reflections could feel challenge reviewers to consider the glamorizations of criminality while it vividly portrays the excitement and failures of mob life. It also reveals its brutality, moral corruption, and eventually destruction. The film does not endorse or glorify a lifestyle but presents it as a cautionary tale and exploration of how greed and moral compromise lead to eventual downfall. Henry Hill's eventually betrayals and cooperation with law enforcement serve as a more moral turning point, providing reflection on survival, loyalty, and redemption's extended impact and legacy. The film's legacy is vast. It set a new standard to crime for crime dramas, blending documentary realism with cinematic artistry. It influenced generations of filmmakers and writers. Its portrayals of mafia life remains one of the most authentic in film history. It sparked decisions about morality, legacy, and American culture. Goldfields continue to be studied in films, schools, analyzed in academic writing, and celebrated by audience worldwide. Final reflection: it's some good feels is far more than a gangster movie. Gangster movie, it is a profound exploration of human nature, societal value, and the corrupting influence of power and greed. Its meticulous craftsmanship, layered storytelling, storytelling, and unforgettable performance make it a timeless masterpiece. It challenges viewers to confront uncomfortable truth about morality and the seductive nature of crime, leaving an inevitable mark on cinematic history. It remains an essential viewing experience for anyone interested in the art of filmmaking, storytelling, and the complexity of human morality. So, guys, let's continue. Goodwill's 1990s and ultimate in depth and lengthy analysis. Introduction, a cinematic milestone. Goodwill, directed by Martin Scorsese, is widely regarded as one of the greatest films in the history of cinema, especially within the gangster and crime genres, celebrated for its unflinching realism, innovation, story, storytelling, dynamic cinematography, and complex performance. The film is often influence extend beyond cinema, shaping popular culture, inspired countless filmmakers, and redefining how gangster stories are told. The analysis aims to be as comprehensive, detailed, and lengthy as possible, encapsulating every element that makes Goodfellas a masterpiece. Its origin, themes, characters, highlighting choice, cultural impact, and enduring legacy. Origins and development from book to screen. Goodfellas is based on the non-fictional book Vijay and Nicholas Plague, who collaborated with Scorsese on the screenplay. Plague book provides insider account of Henry Hill's life in mafia, revealing a brutal reality behind the glamorized image of organized crime. Organized crime Martin Scorsese's directionary vision was to craft films was authentic and gritty and as having a romanticism. His personal background growing up in New York City amidst the immersive neighborhood and mob culture informed his approach. The film was development during a period and informed his approach. The film was development during a period when cancer turns film into his rise in the mafia, creating a layered complex narrative that emphasizing the cyclical nature of criminals and morality dynamic. The rush of repeat cuts freeze Henry's voice awareness, providing context, background, and internal commentary, making the characters and perspective, intimacy, and subjective flashbacks and flashbacks, creating a layered, complex narrative that emphasizing the cyclical nature of crime and morality. The film balanced moments of humor, tension, and violence, seamlessly maintaining emotional engagement and thematic depth. Major themes and symbols. Goodfellas explores numerous themes, each woman's into the fabric of its storytelling, the illusions of glamour. The film contrasts scans of opulence, lavish. The American dream and its power corruption. Absolutely, the films demonstrate how to pursuit of immense fuel violence, paranoia, and moral decay, and self-destructions over the course of film's characters' trajectory, highlighting how greed decay lead to an inevitable downfall, illustrate the destruction cycle of organized crime, the cost of crime of personal and family life. The film also explores how the mafia lifestyle impacts the personal life of its members and their families, emphasizing loneliness, mistrust, and tragic characters that dive the heart of the film. Henry Hill Liotta portrays in now capturing the charisma vulnerability, and moral ambiguity of Henry's voice-over allows viewers to see the allure of the gangster lifestyle, the money, power, and camerables, while also revealing his internal conflict and eventually disunimental. Liotta's performance makes sense, relatable and hero, embodying both the realistic and the tragic figure. Tommy DeVito passes Tommy DeVito Juice Pesci. Pesci portrayals is iconic, a volatile, unpredictable, and menacing presence. The character's explosive temper combined with dark humor makes him both terrifying and darkly amusing. The scans where Pesci's Tommy delivers the funny how monologues exemplify his mastery of building tension and unpredictability. Jimmy Conway, Robert De Niro's claim reserve Dominions mask lethal intelligence and ruthless. His mentorship of Henry represent the destructive power of control and authority. De Niro's restrained performance contrasts with Pesci's volatility, emphasizing the different facets of mob leadership. Colin Hill, Lawrence Bracco performance bring emotional depth, portray transformation from a loyal pipe to a disclosed observe her internal conflict, underscore the personal sacrifice and moral cost of the mobster. Supporting characters. The film boasts a rich ensemble including Paul Sorvino as Paul, Kiko Franceschi as Francis Corbin, and others, each adding authenticity and complexity to the narrative. Directional style and cinematic technique, visual style and cinematic technique, visual style. Martin cinematography, Mitchell's elbows. Cinematography, Mitchell balance camera's work, employs eventing shots, most famously the long tracking shot into the captured nightclubs, symbolizing Henry's sense of belonging and control. Lighting, the use of lighting emphasizing mood, bright and glamorous during parties, dark and shadow during violent or tense scenes. Color plates, the film's color schemes reflect thematic shift vivid reds and gold symbolize wealth and dangers, while muted tones represent decay. Editing and sound designs, editing Telma sound filmmaker editing is precise, symbolizing repeat cuts during short scans to heighten tension and show repeated shoots during moments of reflection. Soundtrack and electric mix of period music rocks to juke jazz evokes the era and enhances emotional resonance. The soundtrack also acts as a narrative device marking transition and emphasizing cultural context. Voice over and narrative voice. Henry's narrative creates intimacy, guiding viewer thought his moral landscape. It provides context, humor, and irony, often contrasting with the visuals, and underscores moral ambiguity. Use of symbols and motifs repeats motifs such as the color red, the use of mirror, and recurring images of fluid symbolism, danger receptions, and violence icons scanned and moment. Goodfellas is picked with unforgettable scans. The long caption entertains a masterclass in camera movement that immerses viewers into Henry's world. The funny hover scans faces, explores monologues, amplifies predictable violence. The Lufthansa assists sourcing meticulous planning and eventually serves symbolism the rise and fall of mob operations. The Laila's scans an emotionally intense sequence where music and violence clash. The final, the final details Henry decisions to cooperate with authorities, illustrating the moral declines and personal cost. Cultural and historical significance. Goodfellas revolutionized the gangster genre, shifting public perception and cinematic standards. It introduced a new wave of realism and moral complexity. Its influence can be seen in countless film and TV series such as The Sopranos. It popularized rise and found narrative emphasizes characters' flaws, the moral ambiguity. The film's quotes, scans, and themes have permeated popular culture. It has been preserved in the National Film Registry, acknowledging its cultural, historical, and aesthetic significance, critical reception, and award. The film was a critical and commercial success, receiving six Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Supporting Actor to Joy Pesci, who when critics praised its storytelling, performance, and technical mastery, often shocking and among the greatest films ever made. Ethical and moral reflection. Goodwill present a stark Enduring legacy and influence. The film's influence is vast. It set a new standard to crime film, blending documentary realism with realistic storytelling. Inspired a new generation of filmmakers. Its portrayals of mafia life remains one of the most authentic and compelling in cinema. Continue to be studied, analyzes, and celebrates. Final reflection and artist and moral masterpiece. Goodfellas is more than a younger gangster film. It is a profound examination of human nature, societal value, corruption, influence to upgrade, and violence. Its meticulous craftsmanship, layered narrative, and unforgettable performance make it a timeless masterpiece. It challenges viewers to confront uncomfortable truth about morality and the seductive yet destructive allure of crime, ensuring its place in cinematic history. Goodfellas 1990s the defines exhaustive and lengthist analysis of a cinematic masterpiece. Introduction, a landmark in film history. Goodfellas, directed by Martin Scorsese, is universally regarded as one of the most influential films in the history of cinema. It's led by gangster genres blending realism with artist innovations to create a film that is both a visual experience and a profound moral commentary. Its enduring influence, its evident, its theatrical mastery, storytelling depth, cultural response, and the iconic performance that continue to captivate audience decades after its release. The analysis aimed to be the most comprehensive, detailed, and lengthy examinations of Goodfellas, exploring every phase from its origins in narrative structure to cinematic techniques, thematic complexity, character development, cultural impact, and its legacy. It's both film history and popular cultural origins and development from the crime to cinematic legendary. Development and productions. During the late 1980s, Scorsese assembles a talent a cast and grew, emphasizing realism and authentic. The film was shot on location in New York City with careful attention to period details, consume cast music that evoked the era from the 1950s to the early 1980s. Narrative structure and storytelling techniques, non-linear narrative, and chronology. Goodfellas employs a non-linear structure with scans jumping back and forth in time. The film begins with Henry's arrest, then flashback to his childhood rise in the mob and subsequent downfall. This approach emphasizes the critical nature of crime and morality, vice our narrative Henry's perspective. Henry Silva's hour is central, providing context, humor, irony, and moral reflection. It creates a sense of intimacy, making the audience complex in the worldview. They often contrast with visual cues, highlighting the moral ambiguities, editing, and pacing. The film's editing overseen by Thalma. Schoolmakers employ repeat cuts during shortage scans, gunfights, robbers to night tension, slow motion shots, and freeze frame posters moments of reflections or violence, enhancing emotional impact. Use of music. The soundtrack is a carefully curated mix of period hits, do hooks, is jokes, serving both as cultural marks as emotional cues. And morality, grace, and moral decay. Characters operate in ethical gray zones, enhancing the heinous crimes with a sense of normalcy. The film challenges viewers to question morality. Are these characters inherently evil or product to their environment? The American dream and its corruptions. Goodfellas critique the myth that wealth and success can be attained thought crime, illustrating power, violence, and paranoia. The pursuit of power breeds violence, and paranoia creates a cycle of escalating brutality that ultimately destroys characters' lives. Decay, self-destruction, and morality. Our time's character trajectory symbolizes the processive effort of greed and violence leading to death, imprisonment, and moral ruin, family and personal sacrifice. The films explore the toll of mob life on personal relationship, emphasizing loneliness, mistrust, and tragedy. Characters analyzes complex personalities in a moral gray zone. Henry Hill, Liotta learned his portrayals capturing the allure and underlying vulnerability of Henry. His narrative provides insight into his conflicted morality, desires for normalcy, and sense of attraction. Liotta's charisma makes Shannon both sympathetic and morally ambiguous. Tommy DeVito Joy Pesci's portrayal is legendary, a While a little unpredictable and deeply messaging figures his monologues, funny how exemplifies his mastery of poetic tension, blending humor and terror. Pesci embodies such unpredictability and dangerous loyalty. Jimmy's Conway, Robert De Niro embodies the tools, calculating and strategic mob cause his claim exterior masks lethal intent. De Niro's performance emphasizes control, mentorship, and the seductive nature of power. Karen Hill Bracco's performance reveals the emotional toll of mob life on family. Her character's evolution from naive wife of discussions observe mirror the moral decay and personal sacrifice involved in her husband's world. Supporting characters, the ensemble cast includes Paul Severio, Frank Severio, and others, each adding depth and authenticity, representing various facts of mob life, mob controls, visions, and family members. Cinematic style and director's mastery, visual compositions, and camera work. Visual composition. Cinematic style and direction, mystery, visual compositions, and camera work. What is considered visual style in Goodfellas is prestigized by the long take into the cova and iconic trekking shot into the nightclubs, immersing the viewers into Henry's world. Colors and lighting, bright glamorous lighting during parties contrast with shadow muted tones during violent or tense moments, usually representing themes of illusion versus reality. Camera movement, dynamic tracking shots, crane shots, and bow angles create a viscid sense of musicals and sounds, editings and rhythm. School Schoolmakers editing employs rapid cuts during violent or chaotic scenes, such as gunfights or robberies, to heighten tension. Conversely, slow mo deliberate shoots during moments of reflections allow viewers to absorb moral and emotional weight. Sound and music. The soundtrack features period authentic song carefully chosen to evoke film time and peace. Songs like Laila ranks to Rises and Michaels underscore scans emotional and cultural content voice over narrative voice. Henry's narration offer humor, irony, and moral reflection offer contrasting between what visually depreciated, highlighting the contrastation and a moral compromise to mob life or use of visual symbols, repeated motifs, bullets, mirror, red lighting symbolize violence, deceptions, and dangers, embracing the film's thematic layer. Memorable scans and their significations. The participants scans a masterclass in camera movement. This scan immerses viewers in Henry's world, imagining the Memory scans and their significations. The comparison scans, a masterclass in camera movement. These scans immerse viewers in Henry world, emphasizing his sense of control and blocking. The funny how monologues, Lessing's explosive speech amplify unpredictability and violence becoming iconic. The sequence juxtapositions beauty, music, and violence, capturing the film's emotional complexity. The final betrayals and Henry's decision to cooperate this moral turning point and discover themes of surviving morality and the consequence of a life of crime, cultural and historical impact. Woodfields revolutionized the perception of gangster film. It shifted the genres toward realism, moral complexity, and character depth, inspired a generation of filmmakers and influenced subsequent crime dramas, popularized the rise and corrective, emphasizing the fleeting nature of power. Its codes, scans, and themes have permeated popular culture, becoming part of the American thematic lexicon. The film's is influence extended technical mystery, often ranking it among the greatest films ever made. Ethical and moral reflection, Crowdry tells, while Goodfield vividly portrays the allure of mob life, it also reveals its destructive conjugation. The film prompts viewers to reflect on morality, loyalty, the survival is illustrating that the seductive nature of crime ultimately leads to chaos and tragedy. Genre will cooperations with authenticity, significance, moral reckoning, raising questions about loyalty, redemption, and the possibility of moral relevations. Enduring legacy and influence. The film's legacy is vast. It set new standard for crime cinema, blending documentary realism with artistic storytelling. It inspired countless filmmakers and writers. Its portrayals of mafia life remains unmatched in authenticity. It influenced flourished in popular culture, academic discourse, and filmmaking. Conclusion: artist and moral masterpiece. Goodfellas stand as a monumental achievement in cinema, a late exploration of crime, morality, and human nature. Its technical brilliance, compelling performance, and profound exploration of crime, morality, and human nature. Its technical brilliance, compelling performance, and profound themes ensure it place in the pantheon of great films. It challenges audience to confront uncomfortable truth about the seductive power of greed, violence, and loyalty, leaving a lasting Conclusion: an artistic moral masterpiece. Guys, you enjoying this review? Goodfellas 1990s defines this exhaustive and lengthy analysis of exhaustive and lengthy analysis of a cinematic masterpiece. Introduction: a landmark in film history. Goodfellas, directed by Martin Scorsese, in universally regarded as one of the most influential films in the history of cinema. It redefined gangster genres, blending masterclass realism with artist innovation to create a film that is both a visceral experience and a profound moral commentary. Its enduring influence is evident in technical perfection, its gripping narrative, and its memorable characters. The film's narrative is based on the true story of Henry Hale, a mobster who became an FBI informant and is told in a non-linear fashion that mirrors his own fragments and troubles memory. This narrative structure and to the film's emotional impact and visual complexity makes Goodfellas as masterpiece to self-made man who has achieved success and status thought his involvement is organized crime, but his life is marked by violence, betrayals, and ultimately destructions. Throughout his story, the films explore the thought his story development explored the themes of loyalty and identity. Questions the notice that loyalty to family and friends is the highest spiritual. The film also criticized the American dream, suggesting that the pursuit of wealth and status at any cost in is a hollow and ultimately influencing goals. The characters Henny, Tommy, and Jimmy, the characters Goodfellas and multi famishness and corruptions, with each one bringing their own unique perspective to the narrative. Henry Hills, the film's protagonist, is charismatic and ambitious young man who becomes increasingly entered in love world of organized crime. Tommy Liotta, played by Josh Pesci, is a volatile and predictable character who is both The direction crosses masterful touch. Martin Scorsese's directions are Goodfellas in masterclass in cinematic storytelling. He used a range of techniques to create a whimsical and immersive experience, from the use of long takes and clever camera angles to the incorporations of period-specific music and sound effects. Scorsese's use of non-linear narrative structure adds to the film's emotional impact, creating a sense of desolation and confusion that mirrors own fragmental memorables. The film's use of blank and palace that is both spaceship and universe. The music and soundtrack for the age. The soundtrack for Goodfellas, atmosphere of each scans from the opening credit to the final sketch. The music is used to create a sense of tension and release, preparing the narrative forward and adding depth and complexity to the characters. To use of period specific music also add to the film's historical context, creating a sense of timing and place that is both specific and universal. The soundtrack is a key element in the film's emotional impact, and its use of classic rock and folk song has become iconic in popular culture. The legacy of film that continue to inspire Goodfellas has had a profound and lasting impact on popular continue inspired countless films, uh, TV shows, and other works of it. Its influence can be seen the eventing from the Sopranos to the Wolf of Wall Street, and its themes of loyalty, identity, and the Americans' dream continue to resonate with audience today. The film's technical perfection has also influenced by generations of filmmakers, with its use of non-linear narrative structures, clever camera angles, and period-specific music becoming a benchmark for storytelling explanations. Conclusions: a film that will continue to be remembered. Goodfellas is a film that will continue to be remembered and studied for generations to come. Its influenced opening conclusion: a film that will continue to be remembered. Goldfield is a film that will continue to be remembered as study For generations to come, its Goodfellas is a film that will continue to be Goodfellas 1990s, the definitive, exhaustive and lengthless analysis of a cinematic masterpiece. Introductions, landmarks in film history. Goodfellas, directed by Martin Scorsese, is universally regarded as one of the most influential films in the history of cinema. Its impact on the gangster genres and its subsequent influence on filmmaking as a whole cannot be overstated. The film's matter, combined with its artistic innovation, has redefined the boundaries of storytelling on the big screens. The narrative based on the true story of Henry Hill's mobster who became an FBI informant is a gripping tale of loyalty, betrayal, and redemption. Hill's journey from a young boy fascinated by the world of organized crime to his eventually and potential is coming and deeply human that reveals film technical perfection is a testament to the skill and craftsmanship of its cast and crew. The gripped realism of the mob worlds with a keen eye for detail. The editing's oversee by Thelma Schoonmaker. It is a work of art itself, weaving together the various threads of the narrative with a definiteness that believes its complexity. The cast of Hollywood talent. The cast of of Hollywood talent. The cast of Godless is a veritable Hollywood talent featuring some of the most iconic actors of the 19th century. Robert Niro in supporting roles, bringing his trademarking intensity to the film's additional depth and nuance to the portrayals of James Conway, a ruthless and cunning mobster. Joey faces in a performance and that earned and him an academic award is electrifying as Tommy DeVito, a volatile, unpredictable gangster with a penchant for violence. Liotta in the lead role of Henry Hills delivers a defining performance capturing the complexities and contradiction of his characters with a nuance and sensitivity that is both captivity. Next, heartbreaking the supporting cast featuring Lorraine Bracco as Karen Hills and Paul Sorvino as Bull carry round out the ensemble with a depth and richness that adds to the film's overall impact. The direction's Scorsese's masterpiece. Martin Scorsese's directions of good film is a masterclass in filmmaking, showing his ability to balance technical precision with artist visions. Scorsese's use of montage, particularly in the film's iconic smoke haste sequence, is a tour de force of cinematic storytelling, conveying the soul and confusions of the situation with the visual intensity that is both thrilling and unsettling. The film's score, composed by Peter Sutix and Robert Knox, is masterful blend of period music and contemporary sound, perfectly capturing the mood and atmosphere of the film's various scenes. The sound designs handled by John Levy and Donald Ron is quality impressing the viewers in the sound and sensations of the movie world. The impact lasting legacy. Goodfellas has had a lasting impact on popular culture, influencing everything from music video to fashion trends. The film's influence can be seen in a wide range of cinematic genres, from the underdog drama of The Wolf of Wall Street to the crime thrilling of The Departed. The film's influence extends beyond the screens as well. The documentary series Supponents, which aired from 1919 to 2007, was heavily influenced by Goodfellas, growing from its narrative structure and characters development. The show's characters David Cage has often cited Goodfellas as a major influence, praising Scorsese's directions and the Goodwill as a major and the film's portrayals of the noble conclusions. Goodwill 1990 statistical breakdown. Runtime 146 minutes. Rating R for strong violence and strong language. Cast Robert De Niro, Joy Pesci, Janus crime drama director Martin Scorsese, Nicholas Plaggy Martins, Scorsese's cinematography, Mitchell Pilhus, editing Thelma Smootmaker, Score Peter Yuti, Robert Smoke, Sound Design Jones, Levicue, Donald Warren's Award 6 Academy Award 2 Golden Globe Awards Goodfellas 1990s filmography cast Robert De Niro Jimmy Conway Joe Pesci Timo DeVito Ray Houghton Henry Hills Larry Bracco Karen Hills Paul Sorvino Poli Cicero, crew direction Martin Scorsese, writer Nicholas Blackie, Martin Scorsese, cinematography Michelle Bulhus, editing Thelma Schoonmaker, Scott Peters, Cenotic Robert Smook, Dozen, sound design Sean Levique, Donald Warren's Award Academic Award 6 Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting, Best Actors, Best Adaptation Screenplay, Best Film Editing, Best Sound, Golden Globe Award to Best Actor in a Supporting Role, Best Screenplay, BAFTA Awards for Best Film, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, Best Adapt Screenplay. So guys, this time this review is completed. Then I end this review. So, Tata.